Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're walking through ancient Athens. The streets are dusty, the sun is brutal, and everyone around you is busy. Merchants selling, soldiers training, politicians arguing. And then you see him, an old man, barefoot. No fancy robes, no army behind him, no gold. Just standing there in the middle of the marketplace asking questions, simple questions. What is courage really? Do you actually know what justice means, or do you just think you do? People would answer confidently. And then slowly, they'd realize they had no idea what they were talking about. That man was Socrates. And here's the wild part. The most powerful people in Athens didn't arrest him for starting wars. They didn't arrest him for stealing. They sentenced him to death for asking questions. Think about that for a moment. A man was killed not for what he said, but for making people realize they didn't know as much as they thought they did. That terrified people. And honestly, it still does. First, the dangerous power of ego. Here's something psychology has proven over and over again. The more confident someone is that they already know everything, the less they actually learn. There's a term for this. It's called the Dunning-Kruger Effect. Researchers David Dunning and Justin Kruger found that people with limited knowledge in a subject tend to massively overestimate how much they know. And the scary thing, the smarter they feel, the less curious they become. Ego is basically the brain's way of saying, I figured it out, stop searching. And the moment you stop searching, you stop growing. Socrates understood this 2,400 years before any psychologist wrote it down. He walked around calling himself the wisest man in Athens, but not because he knew the most. He said it because he was the only one who knew that he knew nothing. He called it Aporia, a state of genuine confusion and wonder. And he believed that was the starting point of all real knowledge. Most people are terrified of that feeling. We hate not knowing. It feels like weakness. But Socrates said no, that discomfort, that's where growth lives. Second, what ego actually costs you. Let me give you a real-world example. Nokia. You probably remember them. In the early 2000s, Nokia was the most dominant phone company on the planet. They weren't just winning, they were the industry. And they knew it. When the iPhone dropped in 2007, Nokia's internal teams reportedly laughed. Their engineers had already been working on touchscreen technology. They believed they were ahead. Their leadership's ego told them, we've already figured out what people want. They stopped being students of their own market. And within 5 years, a company that had over 40% of the global phone market was almost completely irrelevant. That's not just a business story. That's a human story. Every time you walk into a room thinking you already have all the answers, you've closed a door, and you don't even hear it shut. Third, the student mindset. So what's the alternative? The Japanese have a concept called Shoshin, beginner's mind. Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said, in the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind there are few. Think about when you first started learning something you love, a sport, a skill, a language. You were hungry. Every session, every conversation, every small win felt like a discovery. Then as you got better, something shifted. You started defending your way of doing things. You stopped experimenting. You started correcting others instead of learning from them. That shift, that's ego arriving and curiosity leaving. The people who keep growing, the ones who genuinely get better at life, they maintain that hunger. They walk into every room as a student, not a professor, even when they're the expert. Because here's the truth, every person you meet knows something you don't. The janitor who's worked the same building for 30 years has seen more human behavior than most therapists. The kid asking dumb questions in a meeting might be seeing something everyone else stopped noticing. When you drop the ego, you stop filtering out information that challenges you. And that is when real intelligence begins. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Being smart isn't about knowing the most. It's about staying curious the longest. Socrates wasn't killed because he was ignorant. He was killed because he made powerful people feel ignorant. And that is the most dangerous thing you can do to someone whose ego has become their identity. Don't let your ego become your identity. Be the person who asks the next question. Stay uncomfortable. Stay curious. Because the moment you think you've figured life out, life has already moved on without you. Now, Socrates didn't just say question everything. He built an entire method around it. System so precise, so ruthless, that it's still used in law schools, therapy rooms, and boardrooms around the world today. It's called the Socratic Method. In the next part, we're going to break down exactly how it works, and how you can use it to dismantle bad decisions, toxic beliefs, and the stories you tell yourself that are quietly holding you back. Next part, question everything.